Mahshar. The next place people will encounter is the Mahshar. The Quran says that after the trumpet is sounded the second time, all mankind born from Adam ﷺ till the day of judgment would be raised to life again. This raising to life in the language of the Quran is called Hashr. We have already alluded to the fact that after the great upheaval on this day, a new earth would come into existence. This raising of life would take place on that new earth. The details of the events and incidents which would take place once people are created again are as follows. 1. All mankind would be given life and would rise from their graves. Each person would be given a body and a soul. This very recreation is called the second life by the Quran. The previous body of each person would be replaced with a new one, which would be appropriate to endure God's blessings as well as His wrath. However, each person would have the same personality in that time as he had in this world. The Quran states, وَنُفِخَ فِي السُّورِ فَإِذَا هُمْ مِنَ الْأَجْدَاثِ إِلَىٰ رَبِّهِمْ يَنْسِلُونَ. And the trumpet will be blown, and suddenly they will rise up from their graves and hasten to their Lord. Surah number 36, verse 51. At another place, the Quranic words are, وَقَالُوا أَإِذَا كُنَّا عِظَامًا وَرُفَاتًا أَإِنَّا لَمَبْعُوثُونَ خَلْقًا جَدِيدًا قُلْ كُونُوا حِجَارَةً أَوْ حَدِيدًا أَوْ خَلْقًا مِمَّا يَكْبُرُ فِي صُدُورِكُمْ فَسَيَقُولُونَ مَنْ يُعِيدُنَا قُلِ الَّذِي فَطَرَكُمْ أَوَّلَ مَرَّةٍ فَسَيُنْغِضُونَ إِلَيْكَ رُؤُوسَهُمْ وَيَقُولُونَ مَتَاهُ قُلْ عَسَىٰ أَنْ يَكُونَ قَرِيبًا. And they say, when we are turned to bones and bits of dust, shall we be raised to life again? Tell them, whether you turn to stone or iron or any other substance, which in your own opinion is even harder than these, even then you shall be gathered to us. They will then ask, who will recreate us? Tell them, the one who created you the first time. At this, they will shake their heads before you and will ask, when will this be? Tell them, it may well be near at hand. Surah number 17, verses 49 to 51. 2. In this second life, the abilities and powers of a person would greatly increase. Whilst being stationed at his own place, he would even be able to see anyone he wants to, however far that person may be, and would also be able to converse with him. It is mentioned in the Quran that when a person dwelling in paradise would remember a friend of his in the previous life, he, from where he is, would easily be able to see that friend residing in the depths of hell. The Quran states, قَالَ هَلْ أَنْتُمْ مُطَّلِعُونَ فَاطَّلَعَ فَرَآهُ فِي سَوَاءِ الْجَحِيمِ قَالَ تَاللَّهِ إِنْ كِدتَّ لَتُرْدِينَ وَلَوْلَا نِعْمَةُ رَبِّي لَكُنْتُ مِنَ الْمُحْضَرِينَ. He will say, just take a peep inside. After saying this, as soon as he will bend down, he will see his friend in the very midst of hell. Then will say, by the Lord, you almost wrecked me. Had not the grace of God been with me, I would have surely been among those who have been brought in seized. 3. This world would be a new world whose earth will be lit up with the light of God. His majesty would surround him, and angels would encircle him. Everything would declare his praise. Even criminals would reach his presence whilst declaring his praises in exaltedness. The Quran states, ثُمَّ نُفِخَ فِيهِ أُخْرَى فَإِذَا هُمْ قِيَامٌ يَنْظُرُونَ وَأَشْرَقَتِ الْأَرْضُ بِنُورِ رَبِّهَا. Then the trumpet will be sounded again, and they will suddenly rise while staring around them, and the earth on that day will be lit up with the light of her Lord. Surah number 39, verses 68 and 69. At another place, the Quranic words are, يَوْمَ يَدْعُوكُمْ فَتَسْتَجِيبُونَ بِحَمْدِهِ وَتَظُنُّونَ إِلَّا بِسْتُمْ إِلَّا قَلِيلًا. On that day, He will summon you all, and you shall obey Him whilst declaring His praises in exaltedness, and you will think that you had stayed just for a small period. Surah number 17, verse 52. Similarly, at another place, the Quran says, وَتَرَى الْمَلَائِكَةَ حَافِّينَ مِنْ حَوْلِ الْأَرْشِ يُسَبِّحُونَ بِحَمْدِ رَبِّهِمْ وَقُضِيَ بَيْنَهُمْ بِالْحَقِّ وَقِيلَ الْحَمْدُ لِلَّهِ رَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ. And you will see the angels encircling the throne, giving glory to their Lord and declaring His praises, and judgment will be passed with fairness between people, and it will be declared, gratitude is for God, Lord of the universe. 4. On that day, the earth and the heavens will be in God's grasp. For those who deny it in this world, this day will be such that its severity will turn the young into old. The Quran says, وَالْأَرْضُ جَمِيعًا قَبْضَتُهُ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ وَالسَّمَاوَاتُ مَطْوِيَّاتٌ بِيَمِينِهِ سُبْحَانَهُ وَتَعَالَى عَمَّا يُشْرِكُونَ. And on the day of judgment, He will hold the entire earth in His grasp, and the heavens will be folded up in His hand. Glory be to Him. Exalted is He above those whom they associate with Him. Surah number 39, verse 67. Similarly, at another place, the Quran states, فَكَيْفَ تَتَّقُونَ إِن كَفَرْتُمْ يَوْمًا يَجْعَلُ الْبِلْدَانَ شِيبًا السَّمَاءُ مُنْفَطِرٌ بِهِ كَانَ وَعْدُهُ مَفْعُولًا. So if you deny, how will then you save yourself from the day which shall make the children gray-haired? The heavens are ripping apart with its burden, and the promise of God undoubtedly is certain to be fulfilled. Surah number 73, verses 17 and 18. The deeds done by people will be evident from their very faces. Everyone will be only thinking of his own self and will have no concern for others. A brother will not respond to the wailings of his own brother, and sons will be heedless to the cries of their parents. Men will forget their wives and children. The Quran says, فَإِذَا جَاءَتِ الصَّاخَّةُ يَوْمَ يَفِرُّ الْمَرْءُ مِنْ أَخِيهِ وَأُمِّهِ وَأَبِيهِ وَصَاحِبَتِهِ وَبَنِيهِ لِكُلِّ امْرِئٍ مِّنْهُمْ يَوْمَئِذٍ شَأْنٌ يُغْنِيهِ وُجُوهٌ يَوْمَئِذٍ مُسْفِرَةٌ ضَاحِكَةٌ مُسْتَبْشِرَةٌ وَوُجُوهٌ يَوْمَئِذٍ عَلَيْهَا غَبَرَةٌ تَرْهَقُهَا قَتَرَةٌ أُولَئِكَ هُمُ الْكَفَرَةُ الْفَجَرَةُ. So when the deafening blast comes, ask them, where will they go? On that day, man will flee from his brother, and from his mother, and his father, his wife, and his children. Everyone will be concerned with his own self. Many a face on that day will be bright, smiling and rejoicing, and many a face on that day will be gloomy, veiled in darkness. They will be of these very disbelievers, these wrongdoers. Surah number 80, verses 33 to 42. The wrongdoers on that day will be dragged by their forelocks. They will follow the very leaders there who they used to follow in the previous world. These wrongdoers will be recognized from their faces and will be brought from their graves in such a manner that one angel will be pushing from behind and another will be marching along him to bear evidence against him. They will be asked to prostrate in order to humiliate them, but they will not be able to do so. The Quran says, يُعْرَفُ الْمُجْرِمُونَ بِسِيمَاهُمْ فَيُؤْخَذُ بِالنَّوَاصِي وَالْأَقْدَامِ فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ. The wrongdoers will be recognized from their looks. Then they shall be seized by their forelocks and their feet and thrown into hell. At that time, which of your Lord's majesties would you deny? Surah number 55, verses 41 and 42. Similarly, the Quran says, فَاتَّبَعُوا أَمْرَ فِرْعَوْنَ وَمَا أَمْرُ فِرْعَوْنَ بِرَشِيدٍ يَقْدُمُ قَوْمَهُ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ فَأَوْرَدَهُمُ النَّارِ وَبِئْسَ الْوِرْدُ الْمَوْرُودُ. But they followed what the Pharaoh said to them, even though what he said to them was not right. On the day of judgment, he shall stand in front of his people and shall lead them into the fire. What an evil place to reach where they have reached. Surah number 11, verses 97 and 98. At another place, the Quran states, وَنُفِخَ فِي السُّورِ ذَلِكَ يَوْمُ الْوَعِيدِ وَجَاءَتْ كُلُّ نَفْسٍ مَّعَهَا سَائِقٌ وَشَهِيدٌ. And the trumpet shall be sounded. That day is the one in which our threats will manifest, and every soul shall come such that there will be one who drives it on, and another to bear witness. Surah number 50, verses 20 and 21. Similarly, the Quran says, يَوْمَ يُكْشَفُ عَنْ سَاقٍ وَيُدْعَوْنَ إِلَى السُّجُودِ فَلَا يَسْتَطِيعُونَ خَاشِعَةً أَبْصَارُهُمْ تَرْهَقُهُمْ ذِلَّةٌ وَقَدْ كَانُوا يُدْعَوْنَ إِلَى السُّجُودِ وَهُمْ سَالِمُونَ. They must remember the day when a great tumult will take place, and they will be called to prostrate, and they will not be able to do so. Downcast shall be their looks, ignominy shall cover them. These wrongdoers, their backs have now become stiff, whilst they also used to be called to bow down in adoration when they were capable of it. Surah number 68, verses 42 and 43. 5. Mankind on that day will be divided into three groups: the foremost in faith, the righteous, and the wrongdoers. The second of these two groups will be given their record in their right hand, whilst the hands of the third of these groups will be tied, and they will be given their record from behind in their left hand. The Quran states, وَكُنْتُمْ أَزْوَاجًا ثَلَاثًا فَأَصْحَابُ الْمَيْمَنَةِ مَا أَصْحَابُ الْمَيْمَنَةِ وَأَصْحَابُ الْمَشْأَمَةِ مَا أَصْحَابُ الْمَشْأَمَةِ وَالسَّابِقُونَ السَّابِقُونَ أُولَئِكَ الْمُقَرَّبُونَ. And on that day you will be divided into three groups: the companions of the right hand, so what to speak of the good fortune of the companions of the right hand, and the companions of the left hand, so what to speak of the misfortune of the companions of the left hand, and the foremost are after all the foremost. They indeed are the near ones. Surah number 56, verses 7 to 11. Similarly, the Quran states, وَأَمَّا مَنْ أُوتِيَ كِتَابَهُ وَرَاءَ ظَهْرِهِ فَسَوْفَ يَدْعُو ثُبُورًا وَيَصْلَى سَعِيرًا. And he whose record is handed out to him from behind his back into his tied-up hands will call for death and shall enter the blazing fire of hell. Surah number 84, verses 10 to 12. 6. The reality behind the differences between people shall be disclosed. When they shall be brought forth for accountability, each and every deed of theirs will be justly presented before them and with the weight it carries. At that time, neither will friendships avail people, nor any sale or purchase, ransom or intercession will be of any use to anyone. No one will be wronged. Everything will stand clear in the utmost manner. The Quran states, إِلَى اللَّهِ مَرْجِعُكُمْ جَمِيعًا فَيُنَبِّئُكُمْ بِمَا كُنْتُمْ فِيهِ تَخْتَلِفُونَ. To God shall you all return, and then He shall inform you about that in which you were differing. Surah number 5, verse 48. وَنَضَعُ الْمَوَازِينَ الْقِسْطَ لِيَوْمِ الْقِيَامَةِ فَلَا تُظْلَمُ نَفْسٌ شَيْئًا وَإِنْ كَانَ مِثْقَالَ حَبَّةٍ مِّنْ خَرْدَلٍ أَتَيْنَا بِهَا وَكَفَى بِنَا حَاسِبِينَ. And on the day of judgment we shall set up the scales of justice, so that no man shall in the least be wronged. And if a person has done a deed as small as a grain of a mustard seed, we shall bring it forward, and sufficient are we for taking account. Surah number 21, verse 47. وَاتَّقُوا يَوْمًا لَا تَجْزِي نَفْسٌ عَنْ نَفْسٍ شَيْئًا وَلَا يُقْبَلُ مِنْهَا شَفَاعَةٌ وَلَا يُؤْخَذُ مِنْهَا عَدْلٌ وَلَا هُمْ يُنصَرُونَ. And guard yourselves against the day when no soul shall be of use to another in any way, and no intercession shall be accepted, and no compensation be taken from it, nor will people be helped. Surah number 2, verse 48. 7.